there are too many people who think the solution is to win the war against themselves. I don't think the solution is to win the war against yourself. I think the solution is to get you and yourself on the same team so that you and yourself can claim victory together. And so the way to cause somebody to not be spending money in ways that they will later regret, from my perspective, is not to provide them.
Hello and welcome to The Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset shifts, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. On this podcast, our unique goal is for you to walk away with a different perspective and with a different set of thoughts, beliefs, and mindset that helps you in your journey to achieve financial success. Ever felt like your journey to financial freedom through your business is an endless effort of trying to feel like an old piggy bank? Like no matter how much you try, it is never enough to achieve your dreams? Well, you're not alone, and this is because financial trauma. Now take our quiz to uncover which of the 4 types of financial traumas as an entrepreneur are blocking your path to real financial freedom, and start transforming your business into the powerful tool for financial independence you have always dreamed of. Go to themoneymindset.com/quiz. You want to take the quiz right now, because the longer that you wait is the longer that you sabotage your efforts every day with your business towards financial freedom. Discover how to turn all of those efforts into success today. Just go to themoneymindset.com/quiz.
Yeah, thank you. It's lovely to be with you, dear. I began my career doing child protective service work with families where there was some kind of allegation of abuse or neglect. I did that for a number of years, moved on to work with runaway, throwaway teenage kids who basically ran from really ugly situations for the most part. I became interested in getting people who had been through various kinds of trauma better, and found that when I tried to learn what the world was doing about that, and I did learn it and try to do it, but I just found what they were teaching me to do and what seemed to be being done was causing people that were already experiencing a significant amount of pain, a significant amount of additional pain. So much so that it's not unusual for me to ask somebody who's gone through the horror of being raped, um, if that was the worst thing ever, and often the answer I get is no. What was worse than getting raped was going into therapy.
Yeah.
That's an astonishing thing to hear. It certainly got my attention. And so I was interested in developing a whole new perspective, a new way to think of things, a new way to do things in order to get change to happen. So it's really very, very different. People know about counseling therapy that it generally takes a long time. It is about developing insight and trying to figure out what things happened previously that are causing problems currently. It's generally significantly painful and expensive, and it usually doesn't work.
Right.
Other than that, it's pretty good. So I thought, well, won't be hard to beat to find something that would be better than that, because there's everything wrong with that and hardly anything right about it. And so I just revamped it and began to rethink the whole thing. The way that therapists seem to be viewing things is that people are troubled from prior experiences. I'm speaking particularly of the way they deal with things like trauma, grief,
Right.
sexual trauma, wartime trauma, death of a loved one. And most of what's going on seems to me to be suggesting that the reason people are still bothered by something that happened that was disturbing is because they didn't release all the feeling. And so the therapist goes to try to get that individual to re-experience the worst moments of their life so that they can feel it more deeply and express it more completely so that it will be released. I don't think that makes sense on any level. If you've ever had a relationship with somebody who would fly into rages, would you feel like, wow, he just experienced a great rage and smacked me and screamed, and so now I know he's going to be great because I'm sure he got it out.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So the whole notion we get it out by experiencing it and expressing it is just incorrect. In fact, the more people rage, the more they rage. The whole idea that the solution for rage is rage, and followed by the solution for grief is grief. And the solution for feeling terrible about being raped is to feel terrible about being raped. Think of something better than that. So what I came to understand is that when somebody is experiencing some kind of emotional turmoil, that's coming from within the mind of the person that's experiencing it. And the reason that matters to me is because if that person wants to get clear and not be troubled, I have access to what's troubling him. What's troubling him is the way his mind is processing. And I know how to have an effect on how mind is processing so that he's no longer troubled, which is another difference between what we're doing and the way counseling therapy works. Is counseling therapy, and by the way, the educational system, the people who are the practitioners don't take responsibility for making it happen, blame the people they were not skilled enough to help, calling those people unmotivated or resistant, or not ready for change. With the process I'm teaching, the facilitator always takes full responsibility for getting people better. So if you'd like to be with somebody who thinks it's your job to get better, that's available in what most people offer. If you'd like to be with somebody who knows that it's his job to get it better for you, then that's where we come in. And the differences are that the RRT process is fast, meaning generally if people book appointments with me, they begin and end on the same day. So as opposed to a year and a half, a day. Significant difference there. Two, the process of going through this with rapid resolution therapy is generally people laugh a whole lot more than they cry. And if they cry at all, it's generally tears of relief and pleasure. And so lots and lots of differences. And the thing is, we've learned that people who have trained in this process can make a very significant difference for others in a relatively short period of time. And by the way, there are two things I'm doing really, and one is looking to find and cause solutions to people who are dealing with being stuck in emotional pain and turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big part of what my life is about. But secondly, and perhaps even more significantly, I'm looking to cause other people to have the skill to get other people better, because I can't see everybody. So we're getting more and more people skilled in this process. And that's really exciting, because people then learn to do a profession that is really satisfying, really interesting, can be really lucrative, and just such fun. So there might be people in your listening audience who might have an interest in at least exploring that. My website is rapidresolutiontherapy.com. We have a training beginning in May, and it's called Foundation, and probably worth a look-see. And while I'm speaking about that, I should mention we also do something called Solutions, which is where we do this process free for anybody who wants, about 6 times a month. And people might look at jumping into that, because there are people that wouldn't have the wherewithal to, perhaps pay somebody for treatment. We want to make sure nobody gets turned down. 100% of the people seeking assistance get it.
Yes. And let me tell you that Solutions is becoming the place to be at night. I see it. Well, if you're in United States, it's more accessible. If you are here in Europe, you may have to be up late at night, but it's so worth it.
Well, we do 2 afternoons.
We do 2 afternoons. I've seen one of them, but most of them, if you turn into, because here's what I like from Solutions, especially, let's talk about that, and then we jump into more of the perspective of RRT, is that RRT is such a different way of thinking than what we have been accustomed to as a large society, that when you go into Solutions, you just simply get it. The moment that you are in that space, that is for free, that Jon is doing his craft, that is working with other people, you may not have, let's say, you don't want to at first just raise your hand and say, hey, I'm dealing with this, but you are learning through other people. That's what that's what I found so valuable from Solutions. And I learned their perspective. So the first time I learned from RRT was by going into Solutions and not saying anything, but seeing how this worked. Like, oh, they're telling me this is different. Let's see how different it is. And that is why I recommend to everybody, go to Solutions if you are not sure, or if you just want to just dip your toe into it. And of course, we're going to link all of that on the show notes. Also, Foundations is going to be linked on the show notes. I'm doing that training, just like clinical hypnosis that I did. It's a different way of thinking that to me, it's way more useful than all the trainings that I've
so
had
sweet.
before.
I thank you so much. and I'm excited and grateful that you make this available to your listeners. There are a lot of people dealing with what's called iatrogenic illness, and that means illness caused by medical doctors. And what I find is that there are tremendous amounts of people dealing with emotional disturbance that's been caused by people that they went to alleviate disturbance.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a significant component of what we're addressing. People coming in who have been traumatized by going to somebody else for treatment, and that's even, that's seeing people that are licensed and credentialed in psychology, psychiatry, social work, counseling, family therapy. That whole works. So it's delightful to offer people an alternative that's fast, effective, and isn't painful. The solution to being in pain is not to be in pain. And we're working with people in physical pain from medical issues and emotional pain from all kinds of things, where we can make a difference. And I know that lots of folks who get to spend time listening to you, my friend, are concerned about financial matters. And we find that when somebody's mind has been cleared, well, of course, their relationship with finance, with money, then becomes clear. So they become more effective parents. They become more effective lovers. They become more effective professionally, and they certainly become more effective financially. So we have people like mental health professionals who will come in for training. They're doing pretty well in private practice, and then they'll often let me know after incorporating this process, their income has tripled. Although each person is paying less than they used to. But the difference is, if you have an amazing experience and you feel much better, you're probably going to tell people about it.
Right.
And so, although, I mean, because I talk to people like in mental health, and they say, well, I'm afraid to learn to do what you're doing because I'm afraid to get people better too quickly. Seriously. I'm afraid to get people better too quickly.
Yeah.
Because I need to support my children. I need to have enough money to buy this and that. It's not a problem to get people better quickly. There's no, we talk about lack consciousness and not enough consciousness or whatever you call that. Well, there's sure as hell enough suffering out there. That the whole concept when a mental health professional is saying, I don't want to get people better too quickly because I'll run out of patience. I mean, I don't think you're going to run out of, I'd like to run out of patience. I'd like you to tell me, sorry, you got to figure something else out because nobody's in pain anymore.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
exactly.
That ain't happening during my lifetime, and I'm afraid it's probably not going to happen within yours. So I think we should just go gung-ho, get out there, make a difference, and get people living lives in which they thrive and have those things that have the experience of pleasure,
absolutely,
and satisfaction, and therefore they're better to other people. I mean, aren't you better to people when you're feeling good? I sure am.
I'm sure I'm too.
So I think if we get people feeling better, then they're better to other people, and they feel better, and it just can spread like fire.
And that's the whole point of RRT, that I'm in love to be supporting people as well. I want to jump into one question that I get asked a lot is, how does RRT works to shift the behavior? So I often am talking about RRT for the emotional release, for the clearing the trauma. But what is the connection? I want to hear your words in how does RRT works to change a behavior, specifically with money. Let's say somebody has been overspending consciously every time, like it gets extra money and they just overspend, and it has no money extra and they continue overspending through credit cards or stuff like that. So how do we see it from the RRT perspective?
Well, see, I believe that our minds, and by that I mean unconscious, outside of conscious awareness, cause the behavior that we engage in. And our minds cause behavior often by causing emotion, sensation, thought, impulse, or habit. And so if you just ate a bag of potato chips and an ice cream sundae and regret it, or whether you just bought something that you regret having spent the money on, or whatever that is. I mean, so what caused you to do it? Well, I think the answer is probably there was an emotion or a thought or a sensation or an impulse or a habit. And what we call all that stuff mixed up is feeling. Why did you do that? I felt like it.
I feel like it. Yeah.
Well, why didn't you? Because I didn't feel like it. So people are stuck because they're trying to do things that are different from what they feel like doing. And sometimes people can do something different than what they feel like doing for a while. And then it feels like they just explode right back into where they were stuck. So rather than developing, okay, what I got to do is get better willpower so that I can be really good at not doing what I want to do. And then I want to get really good at doing things I don't want to do. And so if it's successful, I'll be able to spend my life doing things I don't want to do and making sure I don't do the things I do want to do so that I can have a good life, because the things I want to do are basically bad for me. And the things I don't want to do would be good for me. So I have to learn to do things I don't want to do and not do things I do want to do. And if somebody's successful with that, they can be successful with it, sometimes even for a long time, but most often not. But there's a grip of, like and you hear people talk about things like there's part of me that wants to do this, while some other part of me wants to do that. And there's part of me that wants to spend this money and waste it on this, but another part of me would rather have it saved. And part of me wants to, eat this chocolate cake, and part of me wants to be thin, and all this stuff. And so there are too many people who think the solution is to win the war against themselves.
True.
I don't think the solution is to win the war against yourself. I think the solution is to get you and yourself on the same team, so that you and yourself can claim victory together. And so the way to cause somebody to not be spending money in ways that they will later regret, from my perspective, is not to provide them with more power to repress themselves, more willpower, but to actually get in and shift right from inside out what is desired to do, so that that person isn't then at the end of the day trying to not do what they want to do and do what they don't want to do, but what they want has shifted. That's what we can do for folks. We can shift what she wants. So she wants to lose weight, and there's the candy bar. And it's not that she now has the ability to force herself not to have what she wants. It's instead that thing holds no interest.
Yeah, it's not interested anymore. It's like it's like you see it. Coming back to the overspending, you see this shop full of shoes. You are no longer interested in entering the shop and buying all the shoes, because that's what, it's causing the interest is somewhere else, is in your financial plan or in your investment or whatever it is, but not in what that caused you to overspend. Love it.
People are. I mean, one thing we can be sure is, if you grow up and had parents and go to school, you're probably screwed up. And
true.
One place people certainly are screwed up is around sex.
Yeah.
And another place people are really screwed up is around food. And another place people are really, really screwed up is around money. I mean, so much of what you see going on with money is the result of emotional disturbance. And people are thinking the solution is more of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, I have personally worked with people right at the top end of having a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people trying to get there. And when you get to hang out with the people that are there,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, they're some of the most miserable flipping people that you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And they're miserable in their mansion with their Bentley.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
miserable. I'm not saying money is making people miserable, but I'm saying it doesn't seem to make them not miserable.
Right. Right.
And so there's that hamster wheel of, well, the reason I'm not okay yet is because I still don't have enough.
Yeah.
And well, when does the enough thing happen? And it doesn't seem to.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't.
So all of that, I think, is around emotional disturbance, which just about everybody's going to experience because we grow up in a pretty wacky world with wacky people raising us and wacky teachers teaching us. So the possibility of getting out of this thing clear-minded is close to zero.
Yeah.
But the good news is we can painlessly, quickly, and economically fix all of that.
Yeah.
So that people can begin to live lives that are gratifying and satisfying, and share the abundance of their own satisfaction and pleasure with others, so the world can lift and people aren't doing the kind of ugliness that we see happening all around the globe currently. And when you look back historically, it's not that it was so much better then. It's just that now it's easier to just blow the whole flipping thing up for good.
That's true. Yeah.
So in medieval times, things were not so happy, but we didn't have the science to destroy the whole globe.
Yeah.
That's
true.
what we do now. We have the ability to eliminate everything but robots and roaches.
Yeah. Roaches are not going anywhere. Yeah. And talking about parenting, I will do a parenthesis here. Talking about parents, RRT, the RRT community has an amazing RRT parenting group.
Have you been in that yet?
I have been there because, again, I know I'm going to screw my kid up, but I'm going to do my best to not install shame and guilt through the RRT perspective. So it's amazing the amount of, it's such little things that you can shift as you are raising your kid. So different. So I'm going to link that one as well on this episode because it has been absolutely useful for me.
I think being
a
parent, being a mother, I think it's one of the most difficult, complex, demanding jobs you could have. And I would point out that 99% of people who are parents, all you have to do to be a parent is figure out how to have sex.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to know anything else.
Nothing else. And then there you go. Here's your kid.
Most of them do know how to have sex and know nothing else. Other than that, they're trying to make their kid be ashamed, so they'll do the right things so that the parents don't become ashamed. So I'm going to shame my kid so my kid doesn't shame me. And again, it's just awful. And certainly we can make it better, but not by thinking it should already be better.
Right.
But by doing what will cause that to shift, change, and improve. And that's what we're up to.
Yeah. I'm going to jump into the questions, Jon, that I have because it links
Yeah,
so
I'm
good
excited
with
to know what
this.
they are.
Yeah. So the first question that I have here is somebody says, to me, money equals safety. How can we shift that from an RRT perspective? So I guess it's more like, yeah, and
Well,
I'm going to
money
give you,
isn't safety, for goodness sake.
yeah, yes.
Money certainly isn't safety, but we can understand how in this individual's mind, money getting connected with safety and security, and then
Yes.
everything means something other than exactly what it is, and everything becomes then more complicated and difficult. And then you're not just making this business decision, you're deciding really on whether or not you and the people you love are going to be dead. And do you do better when everything is that important? I mean, imagine this guy is pretty good at tying his shoes, seems to get it right more often than not.
Yeah.
And now we're going to make it more important.
Yeah.
Let's just put a gun to the guy's head, a gun to his daughter, and say, if you make any mistakes with the shoe tying this morning, we're first going to kill your daughter. Let you watch that before we kill you. So do a good job. Now, this guy that's been tying his shoes perfectly for the last 30 years now has trouble holding the laces because he's shaking so hard. He's trying to figure out how to move this like this is a complex Rubik's Cube or something. Did it become better? Did he do better because it was more important? No, he did worse. No. So when somebody says, yes, I'm interested in money because it's safety, safety has to do with not being dead. Well, if you're making decisions based on, oh no, I don't want to be dead. Then you're trying to tie your shoes with a gun pointed at your head. It ain't working. So we would adjust that so that person is coming from clear. What does clear mean? Clear means you just see what is. And what there is to do to make things better just pops into the mind to do. So we want you clear. I don't know how I did, but I think I massacred that question. But what's the next one? Maybe I'll do better.
I loved it. Yeah. So the other person says, what is it? How to move past the belief? Oh, and this is a huge one for the community. How to move past the belief that you are blocked. And let me give you a context of this. So often we hear, I'm just blocking money. I'm just the block of money. Money is not coming to me because I am blocking it. And this is a huge belief that almost everybody that I see is having.
Well, it's a belief because people are told that that money can be manifested easily if you're not blocked.
Right.
So if I convince you that you will have all the money you want if you're not blocked, then I can just say, so do you have all the money you want? You say, no.
No.
Well, you know what that means.
Exactly.
You're blocked.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? Get unblocked. And then that leads people are doing some really dangerous, uncomfortable, expensive, and awful things in order to not be blocked. I don't want to be blocked, so I think I better fly to South America and eat some kind of a drug and have somebody guide me into that in order to overcome my blocks, so then I can have lots of money and good sex, or all kinds of stuff. Long, painful, difficult, weird ass things are being suggested and followed by people attempting to get unblocked
Mm-hmm.
And now we got a whole new crew of people thinking that, are you rich? No, then you're blocked.
Exactly.
And what's the solution? Go deal with somebody who helps you uncover and get rid of blocks,
Blockness.
or to figure out
Yeah.
how you're blocked. And that might provide significant wealth. But the wealth is
Right.
for the person who's holding themselves out as, well, we can get rid of your blocks. Pay in advance.
Yeah. It's a great marketing technique. Yeah. It's yes.
Apparently,
Okay.
badly, it seems to be.
Yes. Okay. So we got that one. And the next one, they say, how to get good with money if everybody seems in a better position than me. This is a person that has been struggling with, looking at comparing themselves with somebody else. It's kind of like, how to get good with it.
That thing that mind does, which is based on comparisons and sort of jealousy, and so if I'm hungry, the problem isn't that you're not hungry.
Right.
If I'm lonely, the problem isn't that you seem to be in love. That's where comparisons take us.
Yes.
So now my problem is I'm lonely. And what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to deal with the fact that you're in love. You being in love has nothing to do with me being lonely.
Right.
So that whole notion of comparisons was probably installed by people looking to control that person when he was a child. You don't want to be like Bruce, you want to be like Billy, and blah, blah, blah. So it was installed within, and it is much more often than not really ugly and works against people. And so we can say to them, yeah, you see, this isn't working for you. Why don't you stop doing it? But 99% of us don't know how to stop doing it just because we figured it's not working.
Right.
So that's where the RRT process comes in, because it goes down to the control panel and the facilitator turns the dials for you. So it's not, well, now you have to work on yourself and take responsibility and figure yourself out and come to grips and feel your feelings and do all these things. It's that you go to us and we just do it for you.
Yeah.
And probably make you giggle while we're doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there, I think, is the solution to that. Get somebody who knows how to fix it. When it comes to processes designed to make people better, it seems so strange and esoteric that most people don't demand from people who offer that it make any sense that they could understand.
Right.
And so people end up doing things and they hope it'll work and they believe it's supposed to, but they don't really get how it's supposed to actually do it. I would say the first thing to do, if you're thinking about somebody doing something for you to make a difference in your life, is ask that person, how is what you're doing going to change me?
Correct.
And then 2, are you taking responsibility for making sure I get better?
Yeah.
And unless those answers make good sense, go somewhere else.
And I think, Jon, that's one of the things that you have supported us as on our way to facilitators and the community, to really get clear that it's our job to get people better. Because when even on all the trainings that I have had, financial hypnotherapist or whatever it is, it's like, well, it's on both. It's on the client and it's on you. The client has to do some stuff so that they help themselves and you also help them. But when you said it, it's my job. Like, you are here because it's my job to get you clear. As a facilitator, also everything changes, everything shifts. It's like,
Well, I want to just differ with one thing. You say both, but how often have you heard coaches say to you, well, my client didn't improve because I didn't do my part of the job?
yeah, no,
So are they really thinking both?
no, no, it's true. No,
But
no.
as you're training to be an RRT facilitator, that if the person doesn't get better when you're seeing her, that's because you screwed it up.
Exactly.
So that's, that's where the shift is. If you're going to see somebody, hey, I want to be able to have good feelings. I want to be able to do well. I'd like to be in a good relationship. Okay. Well, then probably what you need to do is go over into that hut where there's a big fire in the middle of it. And get yourself naked, of course, and hang out there with a bunch of other people that are going to be passing out from the heat. Don't you think? Yeah, I haven't been doing that. No wonder I'm screwed up. I mean, people do that. I'm not making this stuff out.
Yeah.
People
Yeah, I
do
know.
that, Well, I've been having bad dreams. I think it's because I'm suffering from lack of being in a sweat lodge.
Oh.
So sweat lodge. That sounds like that's probably the solution there. I think maybe I don't think I should take this hallucinogenic drug just before the sweat lodge. Probably wait until I come out of the sweat lodge and then they give me this thing to chew. It's supposedly really good for my mind. I mean, they said it does have this annoying side effect of making you vomit like hell. Generally, if people are vomiting, do you think it might mean that their body mind is saying, get this thing the hell out of me?
Out of me.
So if the solution is to eat things that make you vomit,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's an easier way than being in sweat lodges or paying somebody to talk with you for an hour a week about what annoyed you about your mother when you were little.
Yeah.
People are talking about that in order to get better.
Yeah.
What else might have been annoying to you about grandma? Well, sometimes she'd take out her teeth and I didn't like that. Oh, poor dear. That must be, good grief.
Yeah, it's all
Let's
kind of
figure
things.
something else out.
Yes. Jon, I'm gonna ask you the last one that I have here, as we come to the end of the episode, but this is kind of unrelated to money, but I'm gonna just go ahead. When you experience something traumatic, she asked, like a car accident, how do we get past that? How to clear that?
Well, you clear it the same way I clear it when my hair, well, obviously I was about to make a big mistake and say, just like you clear having your hair a mess, and then you could say, well, what happened to you, dude? But you clear it by finding somebody that's good at taking care of it for you.
Right.
If I had a car accident, how would I clear the car? Because the car got traumatized too. It's got a big freaking dent in it here. How do I clear it? Maybe I should put it into a sweat lodge. Get somebody that knows how to knock the dent out.
Yeah, exactly.
Get somebody who knows how to knock the dents out of our mind. And if you don't have dents in your mind, you haven't been alive. because this is a really difficult, weird-ass world. There's no way to navigate it without getting some significant dents, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Jon, this has been amazing. I hope that we answer all of your questions, Guy. If not, you know that you have solutions every Monday. By the way, I'm going to do an episode or a whole episode about this, but I use RRT for my birth. I had an unmedicated
Your own
birth at
personal
home.
birth or your kid's birth?
Yeah, my kid's birth. There you go. My kid's birth. I didn't have any medication. I just used RRT thanks to one of the sessions that we did for physical pain with RRT inside of the community. And it was I'm not going to say amazing experience, but it was a really new way to see this. So I'm 100% recommend you get into the membership.
Like?
It felt like something that had to happen, but my body didn't get into the fear. Like it felt like going to the gym, kind of like, okay, I am lifting weights. My muscles are hurting. I know this is happening. And that's it. It doesn't have to be this traumatic experience.
Was gone.
All the drama was gone. All the after drama, on the hospitals that they put you into all the machines and all these things because your heart nothing. It was literally nothing. My contractions, I did the process of RRT of the animal, the color, and it was just inhaling this state, and as I exhale, it was such an amazing experience.
Wow.
Different experience with it. I'm like, I didn't take any medication for 5 hours of labor.
I'm delighted to hear that. I'm delighted. I'm excited, but I can't tell you I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing things like that all the time. Not only with things like childbirth, but extensive medical testing that's thought to be painful. And we see people just skipping the chemical anesthesia and going through that with much more ease and comfort. By the way, just quickly, you didn't ask, but I'll tell you, there are 2 books I wrote that are available. One is called Life-Changing Conversations. Oh, my goodness, look at you. And the other is called Grief is Not Sacred. And both are available. I don't know. In where you are here, they're available through Amazon. And they really show word for word how dramatic changes take place. Check out the books, or check out solutions, or jump into this training coming up soon. I think you're going to find it a wonderful, amazing thing. And I want to mention that the community of people who have been drawn to this process and then support and enjoy each other are just about the best people that we've ever met. And you spent a couple of days recently with me and a group of people who are learning this, and just like wonderful people like yourself. I mean, people just really there for each other in the RRT community. I mean, if you're stuck, basically you write a note. It goes on a bulletin board, and somebody calls you and says, "Hey, may I have the privilege of helping you?"
Yeah.
And we're getting ourselves and each other better from the very challenging experiences that life has provided. So
Love it.
you're so lovely, and thank you so much for letting me have some time with you. Hey, you ever get hard up for another guest or somebody cancels late for you? I had great fun with you. I would love to do.
Okay, but before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com. Ahora sí, Wealthy Soul, if you love this episode, don't forget to leave a review down below. It will help me to help more wealthy souls to transfer their money mindset.